House Bill 404, an act relating to child support. Representative Massey.
Gentleman from McCracken.
I yield to the gentleman from Boone 66 for explanation of the bill and motion thereon.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Boone 66 for explanation of the bill and a motion thereon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is something that has been in the works for quite some time. It is a update to our child support guidelines in Kentucky. It has been over 15 years since we have updated these guidelines, and therefore there were many people that would have been able to have more funds available to help their children. It would have been current with federal law, and so it was just time that it needed to be brought forward. We worked on this very diligently with the county attorneys, the president of that group, Stacy Tapke. We worked with the judges, and it was a bipartisan effort. And it will update the child support guidelines to bring them in conformity with the federal guidelines, and this is a recommendation of the Child Support Commission. In addition, there are a couple of other provisions in this bill that deal with shared custody and shared parenting. You may realize that a while ago that the court passed a rule that there's a presumption of shared custody and shared parenting in the Commonwealth, and this helps us as we prepare child support worksheets to accommodate those considerations. And finally, there is a piece in there for when a child is removed from the home that triggers a hearing to be held. And the purpose for that is because a lot of times when a child is removed and put into foster care and there's no triggering of that hearing, a parent, especially in a divided family, may continue to receive child support and not even have the child. And the goal is to get it directed so that the child is the beneficiary of those monies. If the Speaker would allow, I would like to at this time yield to the lady from Letcher, who is a primary co-sponsor on this bill.
Chair recognizes the lady from Letcher.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I appreciated the opportunity to work on this bill. First, beginning last session, the gentleman from Todd graciously brought me on to help work on this legislation because he knows this is a big part of the practice, my law practice, which is family law area. And then the bill last year, unfortunately, was a fatality of COVID-19, and we didn't get to finish it. So continued the work this session with the gentleman from Boone. And as he said, we got as many stakeholders as we possibly could and brought them to the table and made numerous revisions until we got the best possible version of this bill that we could bring you. Recognizing that nothing is ever perfect, one portion of the bill is has a delayed effective date for next March in 2022. And that's the portion that deals with how we charge child support to people who have less than 50-50 custody, but more than the standard every other weekend visitation. So we want to do that fairly. We want to give judges time to adjust to it and figure it out. And we'll have time to fix that next session if we need to. And that was also the portion of the bill that the Kentucky Coalition Against Domestic Violence had some issues with. So that'll give us plenty of time to look at that one. But the legislation is very needed to bring us into compliance with federal law regarding the self-support reserve, and also to attempt to address the 50-50 custody that we made a rebuttable presumption in this body a couple years back, but hadn't dealt with as far as child support was concerned. And then it also deals with incarcerated individuals and the dependency, neglect, or abuse removals, like the gentleman from Boone said. So we also updated the child support tables for the first time in at least 15 years, which was badly needed. And I would ask everyone to support the bill. Thank you.
Gentleman from Boone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The only thing that I would add that I neglected to add in my prior comments is this was pushed very heavily by the Child Support Commission because there's federal funding tied to this, and we certainly don't want to miss any opportunities to receive funding wherever we can. So I wanted to bring that to the attention of the body. Unless there are further questions, I would move for passage.